In your job here, you may have worked with, or at least are aware that this facility generates hazardous waste. You may have already received some prior training on hazardous waste and are well equipped to do your job. But just when you think you have it all down, they go and change things. The EPA issued some pretty extensive revisions to the Federal Hazardous Waste Rule, the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, RCRA to be exact. The revisions are contained in what is called the Hazardous Waste Generator Improvements Rule. This is considered to be a major change, with over 60 modifications in all. These improvements touch almost every aspect of hazardous waste management at generating facilities. So while you may hear and see some things you already know about in this training, there is a lot that's new here. These improvements are to be adopted on a state-to-state basis. So be aware that there may well be differences between individual states as the adoption process develops. This training is aimed at giving you the information you need to do your job with confidence. Waste from industrial, commercial, and government facilities can be classified as hazardous in a number of ways. Some wastes are considered acute hazardous waste. These wastes can cause substantial harm or damage, often at very low doses. Other hazardous wastes are called non-acute hazardous wastes. These are much more common, such as some waste solvents, waste acids and caustics, and wastes with compounds containing toxic heavy metals, such as lead or arsenic. Some of these non-acute hazardous wastes can be found in lists of wastes issued by the EPA. So-called listed wastes got there as a result of extensive testing over many years. If a waste displays one or more of 4 specific characteristics, it is considered a hazardous waste. These characteristics are ignitability, waste that pose a threat of fire; corrosivity, waste that can corrode materials or damage flesh; reactivity, waste that react violently with air, water, heat, or shock; and toxicity, waste that can harm living organisms by poisoning. The revisions to the hazardous waste regulations added a third way that waste can be classified as hazardous. If there is a spill, leak, or other release of an acute hazardous waste, the residues from the cleanup of the release are also a hazardous waste. This is true even if the residues themselves are no longer actually hazardous. Keep in mind that civil penalties for hazardous waste violations can result in very significant fines and possible jail time. So understanding hazardous waste regulations and how they apply to your facility is in the best interest of everyone on site.